Good morning, welcome to a morning review. This is Kim Watson speaking for Ezeetrader. Looking at the euro dollar first, and as you can see, the euro is still very much, I talked about a range yesterday, it's still sitting in that range. Chopping away, there's a couple of things I'm looking at from the 4-hourly perspective. You look, there's a sort of trend line going on here, slightly rising with a higher high and a higher higher low there. Higher, messy old thing, but you can easily argue the other way around as well. So in a larger wedge pattern from a 4-hourly perspective, which may will eventually break. Looking at the hourlies, and I've sort of drawn this line in here at the moment. Daily pivot already touched. Any sort of signs of weakness could see us rolling over towards yesterday's lows, and maybe more likely down to, I say more likely, but reasonably likely down towards the S1 there. It's 111.90, so it's a certain possibility of that. Looking at the it could be there's quite a lot of news out today. I was just looking at the news, and really affecting the euro dollar is really sitting towards the US data that's coming out. There is a German bond auction due out at some point through the day. Got the time, it'll probably most likely be sort of mid-ish day, but nothing on that. But the news that really could affect the euro the most is the 7 o'clock this evening news, or 1900 hour news from the FOMC economic projections and statement, federal funds rate, which is due, as I say, at 7 o'clock. So and there'll be a press conference, so that's the real sort of clincher for today, this week really, I suppose, and to see what the comments are regarding interest rates, and particularly as there's a press conference this month, there'll be a lot more sort of emphasis on this, on that data. So that could certainly affect the euro and shape it, at least for a day or so, in direction. Okay, looking at the pound dollar, and coming back to the dailies, it's continued its march upwards, and it does look like there's a potential for it to sort of break these highs, run up towards the monthly R1 sort of pivot, maybe the prior highs there at 158 at some point. However, it's in some respects it's looking like it's doing all this without any sort of major strength. If you look at the RSI, it is on. I often talk about the sort of looking at RSI, look at where it's sort of sitting in terms of its range, and if you look back at all of this, and it really is, I guess, sitting between its 40 and 875 sort of range. I'd much prefer it sitting between sort of 60 or 40, 50 and 15 most likely, and sort of sitting there towards the 80 range. So it's sort of showing real strength in this move, but it's erring strength with a bit of strength, but it could be better. But anyway, so that's a 4-hourly. So looking at the 60 minutes, and we've got the daily pivot below us, which I'd like to see out the way, which if it does hit that, well, the way these markets have been moving, it seems to be shooting down in the morning, going up for its rally in the afternoon. Of course, this would probably do the opposite now I've mentioned that, but it's just sitting off its 21 moving average once again. Sort of looks like it sort of air kissed it first touch. Not managed to break the highs yet. We've got to just watch out for fake outs this morning, but if it does run, as I say, well, 56.87 sort of area may. That R1 area seems a good target, and maybe, as I said before, the monthly pivot, which is just above at 157. However, any sort of sell-off towards that pivot, well, and if it does roll over, again, just looking at the pivot, maybe the S1 and then yesterday's lows as sort of targets to the downside. It is erring on being the stronger of the currencies, especially to the European or major currencies. Okay, looking at dollar yen, and it really is a waste of time me saying too much about this. It's still in this very tight range. Of course, at some point it's likely to go with some oomph behind it, but there's little at the moment to do about it. It seems to be sitting in a bit of a comfort zone there, but a lot of these currencies, the pound is one of the few that's actually sort of trending in an upwards or downwards direction as such. The rest are still sitting in this sort of chop holding pattern, and certainly the yen's no different from this. I can't really do too much with this, or look to do too much. I guess the potential is always for it to push up. Hasn't quite called its weekly pivot yet, so there is a chance it may push back towards that at some point. If we see any weakness in the euro, the yen may just be doing this, running up here. So okay, and finally Aussie dollar, and there's another currency. It's just chopping along sideways. So as I say, the patterns there. I mean, this evening's decisions, comments may just. I mean, remember it was June originally. People were expecting interest rate changes. It sort of looks like it's erring back towards September now, but we may, as I say, with the federal press conference, the FOMC press conference, and Janet Yellen speaking later, we may get more ideas of when to expect these interest rates increased. So chop, not a lot to be done there. Looks pretty ugly. It's already hit its daily pivot S1. To me, this could just do what it's been doing for large periods. If it can get into any sort of trend, that's fine. But it seems to spend large periods just chopping along with an occasional surge. So let's see how we go. But it won't be one I'll be looking at to trade today. Really focusing really on the euro and the pound for the best potential for me this morning. Okay, have a great day. Bye for now.